How do you sort out the so-called jargon from real-world practices that work? Do the members of your organization find some business or technology advice utterly confusing? Welcome to Real Talk with Sam Holcman. In this program, we set the record straight, and in terms that business people and technology people can understand. Now, here is your host, Sam Holcman.
Welcome to this edition of Real Talk. I'm Sam Holcman, and today we are going to define the term enterprise architecture. And I know that some of you that explore the internet have probably seen tens of thousands of definitions if you use one of the search engines that are out there. So how do you get through the madness? Well, hopefully you will see our definition from the Enterprise Architecture Center of Excellence, eacoe.org. If you want to take a look at the website for the definition also, is the practitioner, hands-on practitioner definition of enterprise architecture. We are not only people that do certification and consulting and training, we actually do enterprise architecture. So this is what we talk about with our clients and, of course, the practice that we have. So here's the definition of enterprise architecture. Enterprise architecture is explicitly describing an organization. Let me stop there for a moment. The concept of an organization is a boundary condition. Anything inside of that boundary condition can be integrated. Anything outside of that boundary is going to be interfaced. It doesn't mean it's right or wrong, but one of the key things is that you can't post-integrate. You can only post-interface. So the definition and architecture has that constraint or value. The word explicit means, quite simply, that you have a representation that is readable, traceable, absorbable by mere mortals, human beings. And we call those representations human-consumable. So enterprise architecture is explicitly describing an organization. Now, how are we going to do that? Through a set of independent, non-redundant artifacts. That fancy phrase simply means, what is the least number of things that we need to describe an architecture? And this is hard. Why do I say it's hard? It's very easy to keep adding things and adding things. It is very difficult to slim it down to the essence of what's going on. Independent, non-redundant. What does that mean? One fact in one place and no waste. Enterprise architecture is explicitly describing an organization through a set of independent, non-redundant artifacts. Now let's continue on. Defining how these artifacts interrelate with each other. What does that mean? It means what is the interactions that make up your organization's, your enterprise's DNA. It's a DNA of your company. So what do you use is the as-is state, the processes you need to achieve your goals, and also in the future state, desired state, what are the processes that you need to meet the goals in your future? Are they the same or different? And that's what we call interrelationships. And these are vital to that understanding. Enterprise architecture is explicitly describing an organization through a set of independent, non-redundant artifacts, defining how these artifacts interrelate with each other. We have a comma there. From that, we want to develop a set of prioritized, aligned initiatives. Another word for initiatives is capabilities. Another word for capabilities is projects. Another word is programs. Another word is focus areas. Enterprise architecture does not stop with a series of models. That's an interim deliverable. That's really architecture for architects rather than architects for stakeholders. So the objective of enterprise architecture is to put together a series of projects or programs or initiatives that you need to achieve the goals of the organization. And, of course, a roadmap to get there from the desired state, to the desired state from the end state. Enterprise architecture so far is explicitly describing an organization through a set of independent, non-redundant artifacts, defining how these artifacts interrelate with each other, developing a set of prioritized, aligned initiatives and roadmaps to understand the organization, and now communicate this understanding to stakeholders. To stakeholders, the people that are going to get the value of the architecture are the stakeholders, the customers, the clients, whatever you want to call them. This is not IT focused. It is enterprise enabling. As a matter of fact, a number of our clients call the enterprise architecture that we're talking about here the enabler of business and mission strategy. That's what we're looking for. And that's going to move the organization toward its desired state. So in summary, enterprise architecture is explicitly describing an organization through a set of independent, non-redundant artifacts, defining how these artifacts interrelate with each other, developing a set of prioritized, aligned initiatives and roadmaps to understand the organization, communicate this understanding to stakeholders, and move the organization toward its desired state. That is real enterprise architecture. That is stakeholder-focused enterprise architecture.
Thank you for tuning in to Real Talk. Be sure to join your host, Sam Holcman, again for another edition of our program. We'll have more real topics of discussion then.